Welcome, welcome, welcome to Black Star, Still Rising. And I am your host and executive producer, Stephen Black Butterfly Carter. And I want to acknowledge, first of all, the Black Star Project, founded by Philip Jackson, late founder, and who is memory of, and acknowledge Gloria Smith, the executive director of the Black Star Project. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to represent with Black Star all the programs, with Black Star Still Rising, the programs and the guests that we've been lining up. We've got an exciting guest that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but I've got to do what I always do first. Imani Payne, Rocio Santos, thank you for being such a great studio host and making us look good. Got a shout out to our executive director, Darius, and what he has done to give us opportunity to report and to interact with our public. And also, not last, not least, but my associate directors, associate producers, and that's Dr. Mike Washington and the associate producer for social engagement, and that's Ellis Taylor. Thank you for being here with me today. And now I have the distinct pleasure on many levels of introducing a gentleman who just happens to be, we can start the ball, happens to be my alpha brother, but he has so many hats and experiences. I'm going to say a few of them. I'm going to let him talk about a few of them. But our guest today is our favorite attorney, Brother Lewis Powell, W. Powell III, right? Esquire. I can put the Esquire in.
Thank you, Brother Carter.
All right.
Thank you, Brother
And
Carter.
he's had so many titles and things besides being a brother of A5. Tell us some of the things that you have been the president of and done and where you came out of school.
Brother Carter, before I do that, you didn't mention I was made an Epsilon Phi.
E-Phi.
Technically the world's greatest chapter.
Next to Greater Theta.
House of 329.
Okay.
Alpha Phi Alpha. And Brother Carter is right. Brother Carter participated in the founding of Epsilon Phi.
That's true.
And as Brother Carter knows, basically our founders are Theta brothers.
Yes.
But we like to say when they established Z Phi, we took it to another level.
That's the idea. No backward steps. I've heard that.
Well, thank you. He's very, very kind, Brother Carter. Reader's Digest version, I'm an attorney. I graduated from Northern Illinois University, 1979, BA in Political Science, Master of Public Affairs, 1981, JD from the John Marshall Law School, which is now the UIC Public Law School, and basically just practiced law for 34 years. Had the honor of working for Harold Washington and our fraternity brother Eugene Sawyer. Prior to that, I worked for the Village of Robbins with their Community Development Department. Spent a year with the Chicago Housing Authority. Areas of practice of primarily real estate. I do some real estate development, do a little lobbying.
Okay.
And we just try to keep it moving, Brother Carter.
And how are we going to move into?
We had the opportunity to teach at John Marshall from 94 to 2015, which is about 23 years. I was adjunct clinical professor for the John Marshall for a housing clinic, which are actual cases for the students. And since that time, Brother Carter, I've been doing most of my teaching either at Northern Illinois University.
And that's the perfect segue into
Northern
what
Illinois
we're going to do
University.
today. Let me tell you what
Sure.
Let me tell you what he's going to do today. He's going to present a class in almost a remedial class, a refresher class in Civics 101, or civics that engages our audience in things they may have forgotten, how government works. He's going to break it down because what happens a week from today, brother?
It's going to be the election.
A week from today, we have got to use all the background information that we have developed over the years and some things that the brother is going to tell us about that will help us make a decision or weigh how we best make decisions and engage in the electoral process. Brother.
And Brother Carter, we're going to give the Reader's Digest version.
Okay.
Brother Carter, we're going to give a version that is simple so I can understand it as well.
Yes.
Because some of these concepts, like electoral college, are a little bit complex. But we want to try to, you should say, Malcolm, you said we're going to make it plain.
All right.
We're going to make it plain.
We'll start with the electoral college because folks have heard that term and there's a lot in that. and it's kind of pithy, but go ahead and get into it.
Reader's Digest version.
All right.
Because I'm not an expert on electoral college, but I know enough to talk about it.
Yes.
Basically, electoral college was founded by the founders because they were not too much, use the right words, they didn't trust the general population. They wanted to try to figure out a mechanism that the general population could not directly elect the president and the vice president, and it was a form of a compromise. The Electoral College meets every 4 years, Brother Carter, with only 2 exceptions. It's a winner take all. What are we talking about? If you win the votes of a particular state,
The majority, in other words. Okay.
majority, you are supposed to get the electoral votes. Case in point, California, which I believe has the most electoral votes, I believe it's 55.
I think I can give you some of the numbers. Do you want some of the numbers on the, or you want to get into that a little later?
We'll get a little later,
Okay.
but we just use 55 as a talking point. That means it's possible for a candidate to win by 1 vote, the popular vote in the state of California, and get all of the electoral votes.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, there are only 2 states. That would be Nebraska,
Yes, that's one.
and let's see, Nebraska and Maine.
Basically,
Those are the 2 states. There's an exception. Those 2 states is by congressional district, meaning it's possible that you may get 1 vote. Because I believe those 2 states have 5 votes. As a matter of fact, President Obama did not win. I believe it was Maine, but he was able to get 1 congressional district, which allowed him to get 1 vote. Now, the pros and cons of the Electoral College. The pros, Brother Carter, are that it forces the candidates to go all out to a certain extent.
Full court press.
In all the states to a certain extent. But the cons of it is that it is quite possible for a presidential candidate to win the popular vote nationwide.
Yes.
And lose the presidency because of electoral votes.
That happened recently.
Happened 5 times.
Yes.
5 times.
What's the most recent?
2016.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote, but because she lost a couple of key states, namely Michigan, she lost the electoral votes.
And she won the popular vote by about 8 million.
Repeating again. She won the popular votes.
Yes.
It has happened 5 times. The previous time was between Al Gore
Yes.
and George Bush.
Yes.
Al Gore actually won the popular vote, but he lost the electoral college vote. That's the problem with the electoral college, is that it's quite possible, repeating myself, for the candidate to win the nationwide popular vote and still lose because of electoral votes, electoral college votes. Brother Carter, in turn, a lot of people say, well, this is a travesty, so forth and so on. This is not right. It's taking the vote from the people, so forth and so on. The problem is, it is a very pragmatic to change the system. What are we talking about? To the best of my knowledge, in order to do away with electoral college, you would have to do amendment. You have to pass amendment. Constitutional amendment. Thank you, Brother Carter. And to the best of my knowledge, it takes 3/3 of the states, meaning some states are not going to cooperate. Why? Because it's giving up them, small states.
3/3 or 2/3?
3/3, I believe. But you can double check me on that.
No, we'll check. We can find.
Okay.
And we'll give you a number that you can call. We can give you that information. Right now, 312-662-3106. We'll give you the correct information when you go to the polls. You'll at least know what you're up against.
Right. Fact of the matter is, Reader's Digest version is, with the smaller states, it allows them to have some leverage with the Electoral College, that their votes still count to a certain extent to be measured. That's the Reader's Digest version.
Okay. Let me give you a little idea. Let me share this with you. I got a little research to complement what you've been telling us. For instance, of the states, we already talked about California. That was 54, 55 electoral votes. I think there's 239 that was needed to actually win.
Correct.
But let's contrast Illinois, our state. Our state, there are 19 electoral votes. New York, it is 28 electoral votes. It is in Pennsylvania, 19 votes. And I'll step aside for a second here because you have seen everything everybody's reading, we've been talking about, that the candidates, I didn't say a specific candidate, the candidates are spending a lot of time in what do we call these battleground and swing states.
Battleground. And Brother Carter, the battleground states, to the best of my knowledge, are 7.
Yes.
And they are as follows: Georgia.
Okay. Georgia 16.
North Carolina.
North Carolina is.
Pennsylvania.
Okay. Pennsylvania.
Michigan,
maybe.
which is a problem.
Yes.
Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona.
That's kind of a broad swath.
Right. Now here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. These battleground states are pragmatic because they can go either way. That's why sometimes people refer to them as swing states.
Yeah.
These are the states that you will see the candidates spend a lot of time and money.
We're talking about millions. I think the latest count, some of them have been billions of dollars or in promotion and getting out the troops for their particular party.
Right. And these battleground states, Brother Carter, are states, in lack of a better term, are up for grabs. That is undecided, that the polls are showing not too much separation from the major candidates. That's why those battleground states or swing states, the major candidates have to pay very focused attention because, again, 5 times in history, last time, 2016, the popular vote did not determine the outcome of the president. That's the Reader's Digest version of battleground states, i.e. swing states.
Let me share something with you. I happened to grab this special section in this Sunday's New York Times, the section that is supposed to be for kids. And said adults are not supposed to be reading it, and I usually send it to my grandkids, but I took a chance and read some of the things and what they brought out, some of the very specifics. And I think New York Times does a good job in doing their research. They said in almost every state, electors are bound by law to vote for the candidate their state picked. That means once votes are tallied on each state, we'll know who won. States will then certify the results, and on December 17th, and here's what we saw a few years ago, the electors will meet to officially cast their votes. On January 6th, Congress will count and confirm the results, and the new president will be inaugurated on January 20th. And that's what you're looking for. We're all looking for the inauguration on January 20th. I'm getting my plane ticket now to be there for that inauguration, if possible. There's some of the other details about still the Reader's Digest. Do the folks know who the Reader's Digest is?
I know, Brother Carter.
Some of my younger folks.
I'm a young senior citizen.
Right, you're young, but you know a little bit of history.
Right,
and
right.
the Reader's Digest was such a popular magazine in my early life.
It gives you the critical information.
Critical information.
Now, as we say in the business, not a thesis.
Yeah.
It gives you the critical information that you can read quickly and go about your business.
That's why it says it's digestible, right?
But but Brother Carter and audience, in terms of being an influencer, different ways to be an influencer. As Brother Carter and myself, we were talking.
But can I ask you this?
Sure.
I want to do this. Give the real basic part, the parts of government that we remember, but sometimes we don't know how.
Reader's Digest.
No. I want you to talk about the legislative body. Okay.
Pass the laws. Executive. Minister, basically in charge.
And the
judiciary, which we can have a whole show on the judiciary.
But we're going to do the abbreviate, and they have to come together.
They have to come together. It's checks and balances, and whatever the founding fathers who were not perfect on a whole lot of things, at least they had a good foundation in terms of the check and balance. It was designed so it would be each body will have their own sphere of influence to a certain extent, equal, and no one being dominant. Now, we want to be careful what we say because we want to be nonpartisan.
We are nonpartisan.
Right. But we always, the fact of the matter is this nation was set up so that one branch would not be too powerful over the other branches.
Okay. Now, the branches and how they're working, One of the things we were talking about is influences. I wanted you to get into that because there are ways that we can influence outside of the votes that we do here in Illinois. We want to talk about that, how a average voter using F&F. Talk about that.
Again, Brother Carter, you'd be surprised in this day of Facebook, Snapchat, or whatever it is they got out here. Nothing still having, we say in the business, foot on the ground or feet on the ground. Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Yes.
Because as we speak, we know that in certain battleground states, people from Chicago are going to certain battleground states knocking on doors.
And they're from the battle. They have relatives, friends,
right.
family.
I'm going to get to that. But you have
ahead.
people that are coming in from Chicago, going to other states, going door to door. Now, in terms of being influenced, this is how you be influenced. If you have a relative or a friend that's in a battleground state, i.e. Georgia, so forth,
North Carolina,
you need to be talking with them. You need to be communicating with them, stressing that, well, we need you to vote. Let's just say
Let's tell you why, from our opinion.
Right, we need you to vote and express to them why you think they should vote in a certain way. That's what we talk about influence. I'm a former precinct captain, and I definitely know about going door to door. In 2024, you can still swing election going door to door.
I did that. My first election was JFK, and I had to get that list, and who hadn't come to the polls, I had to go knock on the door.
That's the old-fashioned way.
That's the old-fashioned way.
We would talk. And I came up under Wilson Frost and Kerry Austin. We would talk. Don't just get meaningless signatures. Get signatures when you go on door to door that you know for a fact. You had a polling sheet. You know who's in the residence. Who's right. But also you want to keep track. You speak to the constituent. Try to get a feel for which way they're going. If they're kind of wavering, we would talk to make a mark. And if you have to, bring back the alderman to talk to them to see if they can sway.
It was real personal.
Real personal.
We knew the precinct captains knew the people in
real
the
personal.
Yes.
That's old school, and I'm here to tell you that still works in this digital area or whatever you want to call it, communication area, so forth and so on, Facebook, texting, so forth and so on. Still, boots on the ground.
I think I'd like you to address a little bit too what people refer to as the bottom of the ticket and the importance of the bottom of the ticket. Can you get into that?
Not a problem.
Yes.
Now, don't disrespect.
Now, I bring this up because this gentleman, he knows his local politics. You talk about precinct captain, he got it from the bottom. Talk about the bottom of the ticket, the importance of that.
People have a tendency don't disrespect, I was saying, not to pay attention to the judges. And a lot of times the judges, people may go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. They may vote for a person because their name may appear to be black. They may vote for a person they have Hispanic
or not
name.
Vote for a person.
Or not vote for them. They may vote for a person because they have an Irish signing name. But there are mechanisms. I'm a former president of the Cook County Bar. That's when I met Brother Carter. That was time is flying. That was 1994, 1995, about 30 years ago.
Yes.
But in any event, the Cook County Bar has their ratings in terms of who they feel are qualified, so forth and so on. Chicago Bar Association, the Alliance Bar Association, which is a combination of a different bar association, Illinois State Bar Association, the different Hispanic Bar Association, the Gay and Lesbian Bar Association. There are different associations that have their ratings. You just, you can just go, Google it, and you can find out what these particular bar associations feel really recommend. Also, if you know somebody that's very much involved in politics, they will tell you who they feel in terms of the judges, should be voted for or retained. That's in terms of the bottom up. The bottom has a tendency in a high-profile race to be overlooked. Even in not a high-profile race, they have a tendency to be overlooked because people are not paying that much attention.
Well, let's get some of those other areas that we don't have. For instance, the water department.
Water
reclamation. What about a library? There's no library in Chicago, but in Illinois, there are boards that are elected that decide whether a book is banned or not. So that's why our politics have to be local in addition to be at the top of the ticket too. Go
No
ahead.
doubt about it. Quickly, Water Reclamation District. I'm an expert for that because I
Yeah.
ran 3 times and lost 3 times.
I can't believe that.
Okay, but in
go
any
ahead.
event, that's an office that people do not have a tendency to pay attention to, but very powerful. Brother Carter, in terms of the library district, those townships pay very much attention to the library district, mosquito abatement district, the school board in terms of the different townships.
Have that now.
Right, because that is a way, in lack of a better term, that you can pack those different boards with your people.
With people that have the same
With the same kind of
Okay.
mindset.
Yes.
And you alluded to in terms of the book policy. Right now, we not going to get too much in detail, but right now we have moving out there where people are trying to ban books, so forth and so on. And that type of situation, certainly, Brother Carter, that you should be paying attention, which people have a tendency not to, the library board, if they are up for election for this particular election cycle, in terms of if they have a stand in terms of censorship, in terms of banning books, so forth and so on.
Go into a little bit with the school board now. This elected.
But
Yeah.
that is complex.
Yes.
We have candidates, a lot of money going into this process.
When you say live, we're talking about millions.
We're talking
of
about
dollars in
serious
some
money.
Of those races, yes.
And to the best of my knowledge, you have candidates that are being backed by the Chicago Teachers Union.
Yes.
To the best of my knowledge, you have people being backed by the charter schools.
Yes.
To the best of my knowledge, you have people being backed by certain politicians. So it's a lot going on, a lot of money being spent.
And it's affecting who? It's not just affecting, say, octogenarians like me. It's affecting my grandkids. And that's why it's important for me to be concerned about the school board, the libraries, etc., because it's not just for me. It's for those who come after me, my kids, my grandkids. That's important too, that for everybody, there's somebody impacting you that you have an opportunity or should be voting for.
The answer to that, Brother Carter, is you say do your research. For the school board, do the research, because you can Google information, get a whole lot of people, information on people. Do your research for the respected candidates in your school district. Because Brother Carter is saying, it is our children's future that's on the line. You just don't want to vote for somebody by saying eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You want your vote, even for the school board, to be a vote that's valued for value.
Part of that too is there was a song, and I don't know all the lyrics, that we used to dance to. It was important, and we danced to it, but there's some meaning. The song's lyric was, "Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed." Was that Teddy Pendergrass that sang that song?
Yeah, that's correct.
If you they talk about woke. There's something wrong with being woke. We have to wake up. We have to find out. We have to be involved. We have to be engaged. We can't just retire and not do anything. I'm talking to you octogenarians that are out there at Atlas and at Crocs. You should be asking. You should be influenced. You could be the influencers that you should be, given the wisdom that you have.
You said it all, Brother Carter. In this age of information, it's inexcusable for you not to be aware of who you're voting for. Also, word of mouth still
Yes.
works.
Viva voce. When you leave here, that's what I tell my guests here, folks who are watching the program. Viva voce. Pass it on. That's what it means. You have to do that. Keep that in mind. You also know, too, that if your folks miss the broadcast today, they'll be able to get it on YouTube in about 5 days from now and see and pass that information on to your friends and family. So you've got to get on the phone. You've got to doing some text messages. This election is too vital for anybody to sit out. And they talked about that a lot. You can't, I think there was Miss, well, I'm not going to say who it was, but she told us very vividly that we cannot sit on our behinds. We've got to get to the polling station.
I heard her. Yeah. Brother God, you're right. You cannot on CAN TV say what that sister said.
Right.
But I think the audience got your
my message.
You got your message.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, my pen got messed up here. But anyway, it's been so great. And now there's some few other things we want to hit. And let me share this one last thing with you. Why do we do it this way? And Brother Powell talked about it. We have the Electoral College because men who founded America disagreed over how the new country should elect a president. Some of them thought that only members of Congress could cast the votes. Others thought that everyone in the country should vote for president. And there was a time, too, that they didn't think women should vote, right? Okay, only 1919, 1920. And another group worried that states with more people will have too much power in electing the president, so they created the Electoral College as a compromise. And this was what Brother Powell was talking about, the compromises and the changes that have happened over the years.
Absolutely.
So again, get out, vote. Next week from today, you better get out. You can still, early voting is going on. So my friends, my followers here, I want you to get out. And next week, I can tell you that we have a member from the Black Star Project's staff. Zaid McClellan is going to be our guest next Tuesday, so look forward to him. He's one of the program managers that are going to be telling you a lot about the programs that are happening at the Black Star Project. And that number there is 773-285-9600. My friends, viva voce, pass the word on, get out. Any last comments you want to make to our viewing audience? Brother Powell.
This is so important. Regardless of who you support, get out and vote, because this race has a lot of consequences.
Some of them may be dire.
Absolutely.
I'll leave it at that,
Right.
and leave it to your imagination what the circumstances could be if you do not do your part. If you are not involved with civic engagement, with community engagement, that's something that you have to get used to again, because we used to do it in the old days. But I'm going to leave you with that message. Thank you for being with us tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week.